Most of your strain today did not come from events. It came from the inner argument about them, the bargaining with headlines and the silent court case against your spouse, your boss, your body, yourself. That argument, that incessant need to answer every suggestion that floats by, this is the hypnosis we have been taught to call normal. And I say to you, gently but very firmly, that is the world mind. Not your little personal mind merely, not your private worries only, but the atmosphere of thought, the collective suggestion stream of fear, opinion, comparison, self-improvement pressure, and the inherited dread that if you don't keep answering, something terrible will happen. Do you see that? It does not defeat you by force. It defeats you by making you think it deserves an answer, by persuading you that every inner knock is the sheriff at the door. The world mind says, "What about the market?" And you answer. "What about your image?" And you answer. "What about tomorrow's diagnosis?" And you answer. And every answer is a tiny cord, and many tiny cords make a rope. And before the day is half lived, you are tied to a post that isn't even there. Can you feel how quickly it pulls you outward? Now understand me. This is not a condemnation of you. This is the climate in which we were educated. From the nursery right on through university, we were taught the authority of noise, the power of the latest opinion, the holiness of being right, and the sin of being quiet. We were given the idea that wisdom is a bigger, faster argument. Oh no, that is not wisdom. That is addiction. The world mind feeds on reply. It lives on your consent to debate. Do you see that? The headlines shout. The family system hints. The body whispers. The bank statement looks stern. And at once the hand goes up. "Present, I'll answer." But remember this. It doesn't come by arguing better, and it doesn't come by asking God to hush the world. It comes by actually making contact before you touch any of it. We'll come to that. For now, see the mechanism. The trap is not the event. It is the obligation you feel to think it through again and again and again, as if reality were in the argument and not in the presence. You say, "But surely I must think about my life." Of course you will fulfill every duty that love requires, but never forget this. You are not required to answer suggestion. You are required to live from the center. The prince of this world comes and finds nothing in you. No answering post, no hook, no debate hall. That is freedom. And I will not leave you with a philosophy, not belief, not a slogan. In a few minutes, we will prove it together. 1 minute, 60 seconds of actual stillness that the world mind cannot negotiate with. In that minute, you will discover the only place it cannot follow. Contact. Then you will know why the argument has no authority unless you crown it. Do you see that? Now, here is the turn, and it must be a clean turn or it is no turn at all. Your habit, my habit, the human habit, is to fix the outer picture, to tighten the jaw, to plan, to rehearse, to push the chess pieces of people and money and timing as if the board out there were the power. Oh no, no, stop such nonsense. Life is not to be begged to cooperate. God is not to be petitioned to move the pawns for you. We do not regain freedom by conquering circumstances. We regain it by making contact with the presence before we touch the circumstance. Do you see that? Petition is the old language of fear. It says, "Please, reality, do me a favor, give me the outcome." Contact is the language of sonship, of union. It says nothing to the outer at all. It rests, actually, in the presence that is already within you, closer than your breath, nearer than hands and feet. Never forget this. God isn't up in heaven waiting for you to pray the right prayer about your mortgage or your scan. The kingdom of God is within you, and it is present as law, as grace, as the living order that, when touched, begins to reform the picture without your pushing. Our students are taught this. Don't pray for things. Pray for a realization of God, and then watch what happens to things. You ask, but what do I do with the feeling of urgency? You do the most radical and the most practical act. You stop the inner argument long enough to touch what is real. Not to get a sensation, not to get a sign, not to get a goosebump. You consent to be still. You yield the driver's seat. You say within yourself, God is. That is prayer. That is conduct, no, contact. And in that instant, whether it is 3 seconds or 30, you have withdrawn your consent from the debate hall where the world mind shouts. The prince of this world comes and finds nothing in you to answer. Why 60 seconds? Not as a hack, not as a trick, not as a spiritual snack to keep you from fainting until lunch. 60 seconds is proof. If, for 1 minute, you can refrain from crowning thought as king, if for 1 minute you can withhold your answer and let being be being in you, then you have discovered a doorway that is yours forever. You can return and return and return until the returning becomes your residence. Do you see the difference? We are not trying to change the weather of thought. We are stepping indoors, where weather has no authority. Set your expectation rightly, or you will miss the pearl while fingering the shell. We are not angling for calm. We are not manufacturing a mood. We are consenting to the operation of a deeper law that never fails. Grace works from within outward. So, leave life alone for a moment. Don't touch the phone. Don't fix the person. Don't answer the headline. Make contact first. Then, and only then, touch the circumstance from the inside out, as one who has remembered where the power is. And when you forget, as you will, do not condemn yourself. Simply return. God is. That is enough. Now we come to the doorway itself. And I must be precise, or you will try to manufacture a mood and call it stillness. Stillness is not blankness. It is not pushing thoughts into a basement and sitting on the door. It is not zoning out, not a trance, not a hypnotic lull. Stillness is the simple cessation of taking thoughts personally. A thought knocks, and you do not present yourself as the one who must answer it. A memory rises, a plan seduces, a fear advertises, and you do not sign the contract. Do you see that? The stream may keep flowing, but you are no longer in the water up to your chin. You are on the bank, beholding. That, and only that, is stillness. And please hear this. Stillness is not an escape from the world. It is an exit from the world mind. There is a difference as wide as heaven. You are not running away from bills or diagnoses or relatives. Oh no. You are stepping out of the hypnotic suggestion that those things are the authority, that they define your being, that they can dictate your inner court. You are leaving the debate hall where noise pretends to be law, and you are returning to the place noise cannot enter. Direct contact with being. Be still and know that I am God. Not, be still and get God to do something. Be still and know. Knowledge by contact, not by argument. Now, this contact does not come by piling up beautiful ideas about God. You will not think your way into peace. No, let peace reveal itself when thinking stops dominating. We use two anchors for this, not as magic words, not as charms, but as recognition. God is. Say it silently, gently, as fact. And then, I am. Not the worried I, not the proud I, not the frightened I, but the I that is one with I am. The life that is closer to you than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. Voice these within, not to start something, but to notice what already is. Set the container rightly, or the world mind will use even your practice against you. Sit as you are, or stand as you are. There is no sacred furniture required. Eyes may be closed, or open and soft on whatever is before you. Let the hands rest without a project. Breathe as the body breathes. You do not manage air. If sounds arrive, a siren, a neighbor, the hum of the room, let them be part of the prayer, not an interruption to it. If discomfort arises, an itch, a heaviness, a sadness, do not fix it. Do not narrate it. Do not argue with it. No fight, no commentary. You are not here to improve the stream. You are here to stop wading in it. For 60 seconds, our only task will be non-consent to the inner argument and simple recognition. God is. I am. Every time a thought presents its case, you do not answer. Every time the body makes a bid for your judgment, you withhold the gavel. Hold yourself in quietness and in confidence, not by force, but by yielding. The prince of this world will come with headlines and with history, and in that minute, it will find nothing in you to answer. That is the exit. That is the doorway. And from there, grace does what no argument can do. Do you see that? Now don't try. Stop trying. Just consent to be still. For 1 minute, we will do nothing heroic, nothing complicated. We will make no bargains. We will not promise to be better. We will not ask for a single thing. We will withhold our answer from every thought that knocks. That is all. Right where you are, let the hands rest without a project. Let the face be as it is. Let the breath come and go as it will. Quietly know, we are entering, not escaping. For the first 15 seconds, simply notice the impulse to fix, to label, to prepare your defense. Watch it. A word rises, important, urgent, clever, accusing, and you do not touch it. An image floats by with yesterday's scene or tomorrow's plan, and you do not touch it. A tiny judge lifts his gavel to name this good, that bad, this worthy, that unworthy. Let him lift it. You do not hold the court today. Notice the pull to answer, and let it pass without your signature. No fighting, no pushing. Just a gentle refusal to enlist. For the next 15 seconds, let the body be as it is. An itch announces itself. A knee murmurs. The heart thuds. A sigh wants to come. Let them be. Do not manage air. Do not straighten reality. If there is heaviness or sadness, let it be part of the room the way a chair is part of the room. The body's weather can change without consulting you. You need not issue a forecast. Leave it alone. You are not here to improve flesh. You are here to withhold consent from the inner argument about it. Now the third 15 seconds. Rest as awareness itself. Not as the thinker, not as the fixer, not as the one who must keep watch over everything. Just the open, present beholding in which things appear and disappear. Sounds arrive, a siren, a refrigerator hum, a distant voice, and they are permitted. Thoughts arrive and are permitted. Do you see that the world mind demands a reply, and you are not replying? There is a place in you that is already not answering, already free of the duty to debate, already whole before any condition announces itself. Sit there. Be there. It is not a place you make, it is the place you are. For the final 15 seconds, without strain, recognize quietly, God is. Say it within, as fact, not as argument. God is. And then, I am. Not the anxious I, not the proud I, but the I that lives because life lives. The I within whom and as whom God is present, closer than breath, nearer than hands and feet. God is. I am. Nothing to add, nothing to prove, nothing to fix. Now let the minute close itself. No triumph, no excitement, just a simple seal of gratitude. Thank you, Father. Not for a sensation, not for a result, for the recognition. We did not wrestle a single thought, and still we lived this minute. You have just proved, in your own experience, that you are not obliged to answer thought. Hold that lightly. Carry nothing out of this but the quiet assurance that contact is possible, and because it is possible, grace is at hand. Now what just happened? Some of you found a sudden restlessness, as if a spring uncoiled in the chest. Some discovered boredom like a gray film. Some were hit with a parade of to-dos, the email, the bill, the appointment you forgot. Some met doubt stating its case. This is silly. And a few felt a flicker of irritation, as if you had been tricked out of productivity. I say to you with love and with absolute clarity, none of that is failure. That is the trance protesting. That is the world mind bargaining for your consent. Do you see that? The world mind survives by commentary. It needs your reply the way a fire needs air. The moment you withheld your answer, you removed its oxygen. Of course it said, "This is too simple," or "Fine, be quiet now and then get back to me," or "Use this minute to visualize the outcome you want." That is the bargaining. I'll let you be still if you let me interpret your stillness. Oh no, no. Stillness is the exit from that hall altogether. We were not attempting to polish thought into a nicer thought. We were declining to crown it at all. The prince of this world came and found nothing in you to answer. Do you see the difference? And now, please stop such nonsense as condemning yourself because your minute was noisy. You are not disqualified. It makes no difference what arose, absolutely none. We are not measuring decibels of silence. We are recognizing presence. Even if you answered once or twice and then returned, the fact you could return is the proof. Never forget this. God is not waiting for the most serene minute of your life to be God to you. The kingdom of God is within you, whether your nerves dance or your breath is slow. Contact is not a mood, it is recognition. Calm may come, or it may not. It has no bearing on the fact. God is. I am. That is prayer. That is contact. The minute wasn't for relaxation. It was for liberation. proof in your own experience that thought is not the ruler unless you crown it. Once you have tasted even a breath of that, the order changes. This inner grace begins to influence the outer life, not by your force, but by its own law. Conversations you were bracing for soften. Timings align without your orchestration. The sense of compulsion loosens its grip. The next right step appears, and sometimes the problem itself dissolves without a meeting. How does that happen? Leave your outer life alone a moment. Touch the kingdom within, and grace becomes the cause. The picture becomes the effect. So carry out of this nothing but assurance. You withdrew your consent, and the bargaining failed. You did not escape the world. You exited the world mind. Keep that clear. When the clamor returns, and it will attempt to, do not argue. Simply return and rest in the fact. God is. I am. From there, grace works from the inside out. Do you see that? Now let us say it as plainly as it must be said, or you will go right back to reorganizing chairs on the deck of a ship. The law is this. When inner contact is made, grace becomes the cause and reorganizes the experience without your strain. When contact is absent, you will attempt to reorganize life with willpower, and you will call the exhaustion responsibility. Oh no, stop such nonsense. It is not your task to rearrange the picture. It is your privilege to touch the life that paints it. Do you see that? Take fear, for instance. The human habit is to get free of fear by solving every uncertainty. Check one more feed, read one more article, line up one more contingency plan. And all the while, fear multiplies, because you are crowning it with attention. Don't do that. Make contact first, and fear loses its authority without a single headline being corrected. Or peace. How foolish we have been, trying to earn peace by finishing the inbox, pleasing the boss, settling every relationship score, buying one more day of applause. Oh no. Touch peace within. Actually realize the presence nearer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. And behavior follows like water finding its level. You will speak more gently. You will choose more clearly. You will act more cleanly. And you won't even be trying to be good. Grace makes you good. Do you see the reversal? Look at our modern pressures. Doomscrolling is only the riverbed. Your inner argument is the flood. The outrage of the moment is a match. Your replying mind is the dry forest. Workplace performance? The metrics and deadlines are one thing. The secret theater of self-judgment and comparison is the lash. Relationship friction? It is not the text message. It is your courtroom rehearsal of what you will say when you win your case. Never forget this. The kingdom of God is within you. Not a distant God to be persuaded by your panic. Not a deity to be bribed by your efficiency. You carry your God with you wherever you go. And the moment you return to that center, the world mind loses its leverage. Set your expectation rightly, or you will miss the miracle by insisting on fireworks. Demonstration is often quiet first. Less reactivity in the meeting where you usually flare. A softer tone in the conversation that used to cut. A clarity about which task is yours and which is fantasy. An ease in the body where it used to clench. These are not small. They are the first fruits. And as you return and return again, the outer picture begins to adjust of its own accord. Opportunities that were jammed suddenly open. Delays protect you from mistakes you would have hurried into. A diagnosis softens. Supply appears where there was only arithmetic. How? Leave the outer life alone for a moment. Make contact. Then let grace be the cause, and watch the effect take its place without your forcing. So here is the practice as law, not as sentiment. When the pressure rises, do not touch the picture. Withdraw your consent from the argument. Be still and know. God is. I am. Rest there long enough for the fire to lose its oxygen. Then re-enter the scene as one under grace, not under fear. You will find that what you must do will be given you to do, and what you must not do will fall away without a speech. That is the order. From within to without. From cause to effect. Do you see that? Now we must speak plainly about the inner barriers. Because if you miss this, you will try to sit in stillness while feeding the very fire you say you wish to escape. Animosity, contempt, envy, jealousy, the sweet taste of being right. These are not merely personality quirks to be polished when convenient. Oh no, this is moral psychology as spiritual physics. These states are densities, veils, self-made walls. They are the very cords by which the world mind binds you to its courtroom. Do you see that? You cannot rest while secretly judging. You cannot be still while rehearsing the case against your brother, your leader, your ex, your competitor. The world mind trains you to condemn and then flatters you by calling it discernment. Stop such nonsense. Condemnation is not discernment. It is consent to hypnosis. It tightens the trance around you. Never forget this. Grace cannot flow through a clenched fist. We say, "But I am right, they are wrong." And we think our rightness an exception to the law of love. Oh no, there are no exceptions. The moment you sit in the judge's seat, you stand outside the sanctuary. Judge not is not a pious slogan. It is a practical gate. You say, "But if I don't judge, will I not become naive?" No. Contact does not make fools. Contact unveils fools. Stillness is not passivity. It is clarity without hatred. From that clarity you will see what to say, what to do, and what not to do, without the poison of bitterness. Do you see that? And now the mercy. And it must be radical, or it is no mercy at all. It makes no difference to what degree you have lived in judgment, absolutely none, if now you are willing to stop feeding it and begin to yield. God's forgiveness is not earned by your moral polishing. God forgives and heals as you withdraw consent from hatred, as you let go 70 times 7, as you whisper within, "Nevertheless, thy will be done," even about the one you swore never to release. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. This was not said as a performance. It was said as law. It releases you from the bench. It opens the way for grace to be the cause again. Look at our cultural tempers, the camps, the headlines, the algorithms that fatten us on contempt. You are told that to refuse one side's hypnosis, you must join the other. Oh no. You may stand free. You may refuse both hatreds and still work for justice, still speak truth, still cast your vote or change your job or leave an unsafe room. But not from the world mind's fever, from contact, from the kingdom within. Then your action is clean. Then your speech is bread, not a stone. Let us do a 15-second clearing now, for no theory will help you here. Bring to mind one grievance, just one face, one phrase, one moment. Do not polish it. See it. Now, within yourself, with no performance for anyone, say softly, "Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. And Father, forgive me. I know not what I do when I judge." And for this brief moment, release the right to be right. Withdraw your consent from the case. God is. I am. That is enough. Let it drop. Do you see what you just did? You removed oxygen from the fire. You stepped off the bench and back into the sanctuary. Keep this law. You cannot rest in stillness while secretly feeding the world mind through judgment. Refuse the inner argument, forgive without counting, and contact will be natural. Then grace once more becomes the cause, and the outer picture, yes, even the hard ones, begins to answer to it. Now, some of you are thinking, yes, this is fine when the room is quiet, and the lamp is soft, and the phone is off. But not in the actual mess, not in the flashing light places. Oh no, it is exactly there. Whether you are in anxiety or confidence, in sickness or in health, in loss or in gain, the presence is not absent. If I make my bed in hell, thou art there. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, thou art with me. Do you see that? The presence of God is not a mood that depends on furniture and weather. It is the life that is your life, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet, in the elevator, in the checkout line, in the ICU hallway, at the graveside, on the trading floor, in the construction noise, on the subway in rush hour. Never forget this. You carry your God right with you, wherever you go. Let me show you how practical this is, or you will keep it in the poetry book. One of our students stood over a half-composed message, furious, clever, airtight, the kind that wins the argument and poisons 3 months of trust. The thumb hovered over send, and the world mind whispered, "Do it now. If you wait, you'll look weak." She remembered. 60 seconds. She set the phone down. No performance, no incense, only contact. God is. I am. In that single minute, a quiet idea rose. Not a voice from heaven, just a simple clarity. Delete the first paragraph. Ask a question instead of making a case, and make one concrete request. She obeyed. The answer came back soft, not defensive, and the knot untied. How? Not by genius. By withholding consent from the inner argument long enough to hear what was already there. Another time, in a hospital parking lot, a man sat with the engine off, breath short, the scan report somewhere upstairs. The world mind brought a slideshow of futures, loss, blame, bills, grief, and begged for a treaty. Plan it, prepare, steel yourself. He did not bargain. He took 60 seconds. No petition, no bargain, just, God is. I am. The fear did not vanish like smoke. It stood like a weather front that he didn't have to worship. He walked in without the armor, and because he was unarmored, he could actually hear the doctor, ask the right question, and remember the instruction that made the next day easier. Do you see that? Not an audible voice for special people. An ordinary grace when noise stops pretending to be law. Or this, a manager in a meeting, tension high, a project late, everyone rehearsing self-defense. She felt the mouth load a sharp sentence. 60 seconds under the table, eyes open, looking at the notebook, no drama. God is. I am. Then one sentence came that wasn't in the courtroom. I see where we turned left. Let's correct there and share the load this week. The room softened. Stillness works in the very place the world mind says you can't have it. Why does the world mind hate stillness? Because it cannot sell you fear if you are not hypnotized by futures. It cannot monetize your attention if you are not bargaining with what-ifs. It cannot keep you in the courtroom if you keep stepping into the sanctuary. It lives on projection. It dies without your consent. 1 minute will not solve everything. But hear me. It breaks the false monopoly of thought, which is the root of suffering. It proves that suggestion is not sovereign unless you crown it. And once the crown is off, grace, this actually present grace, can begin its lawful work from the inside out. So do not wait for saintly conditions. Use the minute in the mess, in the noise, in the rising heat. Be still and know. God is. I am. Then watch how quietly, how practically, life begins to answer to it. Do you see that? Now take this out of the rare moment and make it a way of life, or you will drift back into bargaining and call it thinking. The rule is simple, and it must be simple, or you won't keep it. Don't make it heroic. Make it frequent. 1 minute before you touch the phone in the morning. 1 minute before a meal. 1 minute before you send the email that matters. 1 minute before a difficult conversation. 1 minute when you park the car and turn off the engine. 1 minute before you open the news. 1 minute when you return from the restroom, before you re-enter the meeting. Small, ordinary doorways. Do you see that? We are not seeking holy furniture or a dramatic scene. We are puncturing the trance again and again until it cannot hold. And hold this as law, or you will strain and then quit. If you are trying to be still, you are not still. Stop such nonsense. Stillness is not an effort. It is a ceasing of effort. The minute begins with a soft recognition. God is. Let that be enough. Not God will, not God please, not God if. God is. And then, if it helps, I am. Not the anxious I, but the I that lives because life lives. Breathe as the body breathes. You do not manage air. A thought arrives. You do not answer. An emotion knocks. You do not take the case. Nothing to add, nothing to prove, nothing to fix. Do you see how restful that is? Not because you achieved a state, but because you refrained from crowning thought as king. Now, what happens when you do this many times is not mystical fog. It is spiritual law with nervous system fruit. Repeated exits weaken the pathway of compulsion. The system learns, down in the sinews and the breath, that urgency is a suggestion, not a command. That a headline is a picture, not a ruler. That a surge of adrenaline does not require a speech. Each minute is a vote for reality over rehearsal, and the votes add up. Like walking a path through grass, your feet press it down, and soon it's the easy way, the natural way. The trance finds less to grip. The bargaining has fewer hooks. Troubles arise? Of course. If you miss a day, do not repent theatrically. Resume. If you feel nothing, continue. We are not chasing sensations, we are recognizing presence. If you feel worse, restlessness, boredom, irritation, recognize it as surfacing, the world mind complaining because its audience has shrunk. Do not interpret it. Do not fix it. Withhold your answer and return. God is. I am. 70 times 7 you return, and every return is a cut of another thread in the net. What should you watch for? Not fireworks. First fruits. Less compulsive reacting where you used to flare. More patient listening where you used to interrupt. Clearer priorities in a day that used to sprawl. A sentence of honesty that wasn't sharp. A choice to wait 12 hours before the reply. A gentler body where it used to clench. These are not small. They are the outer evidence that inner grace is becoming the cause. And as this rhythm steadies, 60 seconds, many times, the sense of residence appears. You do not commute to stillness. You live there and visit the world's tasks from within it. Never forget this. The power is not in one perfect minute. It is in returning again and again until stillness becomes natural. Then, when we speak, when we work, when we relate, we will act from grace as cause. Do you see that? Now we must seal this in life, or it will remain a lovely idea that deserts you at the first headline. Stillness is proved not by what you feel in a chair, but by how you speak, decide, and respond when the moment asks for you. After contact, live from it. Speak as if peace is present. Decide as if guidance is present. Respond as if love is present. Do you see that? We are not decorating our humanhood with holy words. We are letting grace become the cause of behavior so that fear is no longer. So here is the way. Pause before you reply. Refuse the instant opinion. When you feel the tongue loading a verdict, hold it and make contact, even for 10 or 20 seconds if that is what you have. God is. I am. Then speak from the peace you have recognized, not from the courtroom you have abandoned. Replace accusation with curiosity. It is not weakness. Curiosity is the child of love and the mother of wisdom. Help me understand what you meant by that. Will do more for your home and your office than 100 clever speeches. And when the hour is not yet ripe, say with clean honesty, I don't know yet, and let that be calm, not an apology. Do you see how radical that is in a world that worships instant certainty? It is not apathy. It is authority that refuses hypnosis. Never forget this. Spiritual passivity is not our way. Spiritual authority is. Passivity shrugs and abdicates responsibility. Authority yields to grace and then moves when moved. Passivity lets the world mind decide your timing, your tone, your words. Authority lives as if the vine supplies the branch, and out of that supply you can say yes or no without sting. Oh no, we are not becoming doormats. We are ceasing to be door slammers. We are not going limp. We are laying down the sword of haste and taking up the staff of clarity. Do you see that? Build a micro-ritual so simple you cannot escape it. Before sending any message that carries heat, any email, text, post, or memo that tingles with the urge to win, take 60 seconds. Don't bargain. Don't rehearse. Don't edit while inflamed. Be still and know. God is. I am. Then write again, or don't write at all. If you write, you will find fewer knives and more bread in your words. If you don't write, you will discover that silence can be an instrument of love, not a sulk. Keep this and watch how many fires never need a hose because the match never leaves your hand. At work, embody this. Begin meetings 1 minute under grace so you can hear what is asked rather than what your fear predicts. In decisions, stop asking, "How do I protect my image?" and ask, "What is mine to do under grace?" In relationships, when the old theater starts its lines, change the script. Listen longer. Answer slower. Bless quicker. Let your calendar show it. Small pauses placed before the places that matter. Let your face show it. Softer eyes, fewer flares. Let your money show it. Choices made as if supply is within, not as if lack is king. And now the seal, simple as breath and truer. God is. And because God is, I can be still. And because I can be still, the world mind cannot rule my day. Say it within when you rise. Whisper it before you speak. Hold it as you work. Carry it into every room. Then act as if it were so, and you will find that it is. Do you see that?
Never forget this. Spiritual passivity is not our way. Spiritual authority is. Passivity shrugs and abdicates responsibility. Authority yields to grace and then moves when moved. Passivity lets the world mind decide your timing, your tone, your words. Authority lives as if the vine supplies the branch, and out of that supply you can say yes or no without sting. Oh no, we are not becoming doormats. We are ceasing to be door slammers. We are not going limp. We are laying down the sword of haste and taking up the staff of clarity. Do you see that? Build a micro-ritual so simple you cannot escape it. Before sending any message that carries heat, any email, text, post, or memo that tingles with the urge to win, take 60 seconds. Don't bargain. Don't rehearse. Don't edit while inflamed. Be still and know. God is, I am. Then write again, or don't write at all. If you write, you will find fewer knives and more bread in your words. If you don't write, you will discover that silence can be an instrument of love, not a sulk. Keep this, and watch how many fires never need a hose because the match never leaves your hand. At work, embody this. Begin meetings 1 minute under grace, so you can hear what is asked, rather than what your fear predicts. In decisions, stop asking, "How do I protect my image?" and ask, "What is mine to do under grace?" In relationships, when the old theater starts its lines, change the script. Listen longer, answer slower, bless quicker. Let your calendar show it. Small pauses placed before the places that matter. Let your face show it. Softer eyes, fewer flares. Let your money show it. Choices made as if supply is within, not as if lack is king. And now the seal, simple as breath and truer. God is. And because God is, I can be still. And because I can be still, the world mind cannot rule my day. Say it within when you rise. Whisper it before you speak. Hold it as you work. Carry it into every room. Then act as if it were so, and you will find that it is. Do you see that?